But the other thing that I was going to ask you was off camera. We were talking about what did you call it? DV?
Yes, domestic violence.
Okay, yeah. I just want to touch that really quick. I know this is a whole different transition because obviously I can go into music like for the longest, and then we could play so much music. But I wanted to ask you about that because Martin also too mentioned that he kind of experienced that in a way. Mm-hmm. Now, guys, the transition is a trip, I know, but I just wanted to ask really quick so we can kind of get that off our chest in a way because it was kind of intriguing me on both of you guys, how you guys both experienced it. And I didn't really realize Martin really went through that. I thought it was just more like a subtle thing, like, you know, when you have disagreements. But this is actually kind of crazy. So explain to me from point A to point B so I can understand it.
Okay, so I had no idea that there was different types of abuses in domestic violence because it was kind of black and white for me where you got beat from your partner, that's DV, and that was it pretty much. So that was like the negligent part. I came to terms of realizing domestic violence has different like subsections of it because there was a murder-suicide in my family.
Recently or?
It was 2 years ago.
Okay.
In 2022.
Okay.
So there was no signs of DV to my standard with my aunt and uncle. And, you know, yeah, they had grievances. They would fight. But obviously everything was closed doors. But there was no hitting involved or any of that. And I had no idea until one day we got a call that they were not reporting to work. So they contacted their children. And the son went to go do a wellness check. And my uncle had grabbed an AR-15 and, like, killed my aunt and took his life.
Wow.
Yes. And I was 3 weeks postpartum when this happened.
So this was okay.
This
was
was my last baby.
Okay.
So I had no idea. We were, like, so caught off guard, obviously. And we were all like, what happened? Why did this happen? What is going on? And one of my uncles is a nurse in the ER, and he was like, yeah, there's different types of domestic violence. Like, when your partner gets controlling and, like, they empty out your bank account so you have no, like, resources, that's a form of being in a domestic abusive relationship.
Okay.
And then another thing is, like, usually it comes from, like, a narcissistic person. So then that's another form of where they get more controlling in it, and they start to, like, control every aspect of your life. They try to alienate you from everybody around you. Like, they kind of want you just in a little bubble, and they mentally, psychologically abuse you. So I had no idea I was in a relationship. It was really, really bad that my relationship was a DV case because my uncle pointed it out and said, like, hey, if your daughter doesn't leave the father of her children, like, he's gonna kill her. And it got really, really scary because I have friends who are sheriffs, and they all saw it. They all told my mom, like, if Jackie doesn't get away, she's gonna end up dead. And it was really, really, really bad because it started getting to the point where
I'm so sorry to cut you off. Are we listening to Tupac right now?
Yeah.
What is
I'm
it?
trying to see if I could pick it up.
Is it a guy on a bike?
Yeah, I think so.
Oh, fucking guy. Ladies and gentlemen, we do record out in LA, so you're going to get these kind of activities, and it happens at the worst times, too. Every single time.
Every single time,
bro. It'll be a deep-ass story, and then all you hear is some
always.
fucking high-pitched music in the background, bro. It's insane. But anyway, now that the music is gone, Jackie.
Yeah, you.
Okay,
I didn't pick it up.
Okay.
Much,
Pick it up?
You could probably still hear it.
Yeah, you're
not
more
as
likely to
subtle
be able to
as you
hear
would
it. So,
think,
if you hear Tupac in the background, just know
Copyright.
We hit that copyright mark right there. We had to stop it. See, now it's gone. But anyway, go ahead, Jake. Sorry. So you were saying that you noticed that of your family members, some of them that were in law enforcement, also noticed, and then they also said that you need to be careful.
Yeah,
Okay.
because it got to the point where I was being raped in my relationship. I didn't want to, like, no longer have, like, sex with him, and he would still force himself on me. And it got to the point where it was also I couldn't walk out the house with my makeup, or I couldn't do my nails anymore, or I couldn't do my hair anymore, because if I was, like, who was I getting ready for? Who was I going to cheat on him with, even though, like, he had complete access to me at all times? Like, he had my location. He, like, hacked my iCloud. And then it got really, really bad where I went out to, like, a coffee date with his cousin and my best friend. And I told him that it was going to be, like, maybe an hour or two. And once the 2-hour mark hit, he was blowing me up, like, where are you at? What are you doing? Who are you with? And I was with his cousin, and I literally broke down and cried. And I told everybody there, like, I can't do this anymore. Like, I'm going to kill myself if I stay in this relationship, because I got to the point where I was so depressed. I was no longer happy and I wanted to get out, and he wouldn't let me out. Like, he'd block the door. He'd turn off, like, he'd deactivate something in my car so my car couldn't turn on. Yeah, it was really, really insane.
That's actually pretty insane.
That it was really, really crazy. And the crazy part about it is that he was so sneaky about it. Like, he wouldn't flat out be like, yeah, I turned off your car. He would, like, he'd tell me everything on the phone, like on a phone call, but he would never, ever tell me, like, through text or anything, or he would never show that, like, face of him with anybody else around. And that's how he made it seem like I was a crazy person. He made it seem like I was the one that was, like, crazy in the sense that I would yell at him, or I would, like, lose it. I'd start crying. Like, I was breaking down and I was, like, shattering at every, like, point. And that year specifically was really, really hard because not did only we had the murder suicide in March. In April, my great grandmother died, and then in May, my dog was attacked and died. So it was like 3 months of, like, death and traveling because my great grandmother lived in Sacramento. So it was a lot of consistently going back and forth between LA and different parts of, like, the state and country, because we were going back to Nevada too. So it was really insane for me because I had a three-week-old baby. I was just fresh out of delivering a baby, so my postpartum was starting to kick in, and I had to be strong and deal with everything else around me. And then on top of that, I had to hear from him, like, where you at, who are you with, whose house are you staying at, like, FaceTime me. I was on FaceTime with him consistently all the time, so he can, even though we had nothing to talk about, he'd still be on the FaceTime call just to hear and see what was going on around me.
That's insane, dude.
That is so crazy. I can't believe I endured that, to be honest.